Hi folks, so no on-bike video today, which should shorten this video significantly. I'm probably going to do this in two parts because I actually have two rides. So as you can see up top here, this was recorded Thursday. And generally things are good. My ride from, I guess it was the previous day, so this would be ride 11. The ride from the previous day was the weird one where the screen froze. That did not happen today. So that's good news. Oh, let me turn on comparison here. So again, Karoo is in purple, Garmin is in blue. I must have hit the buttons approximately close together, but again, Karoo doesn't have auto pause on. It's still a quarter-mile distance difference. I'm still not sure really how to figure out what that might be, but all in all, the rest of the information is good. So normalized power, or this X power stat, however that's calculated, it seems to be low compared to normalized power. So again, I apologize, I haven't read up on this or re-educated myself on what that statistic is supposed to actually be showing. I guess the important thing is that it's the same or close. So average power, off by a watt, whatever, good enough. These maximums are very close, although again the Garmin is high on max watts. I don't really understand that. I actually haven't calibrated the power meter in a couple of rides, so that may be my fault, but I'm assuming if I haven't calibrated it, then it's sending the same values to both the Karoo and the Garmin, so yeah, I don't really understand what the difference would be there. These are the ride charts as we've shown before. Probably should figure out how to eliminate this. This is some sort of wattage balance, which I assume would have to do with if I had a dual-sided power meter, which I don't. But here's the heart rate, pretty much perfect, except for these little blips here. Not sure what that would be from. This is power up here, and again, you can see occasional peaks of the purple of the Karoo. But there are both a couple of highs and a couple of lows, and based on the summary information, that would seem to be a wash. Again, a couple of little pokes of the Karoo low on speed here. Doesn't seem to be any high ones. Cadence is good, although I don't know if it's because these are longer rides that I'm seeing more spikes, but generally there's less spikes, I think, now that I have the device set up for Bluetooth instead of ANT+, than there were before. This is the power curve, average power curve, which is almost identical. This is the speed curve, so despite those various spikes and stuff, the speed curve is very good. We're not going to show the map because we don't need to. This power chart, good enough, I guess. I don't really know how to read. I mean, I know sort of what I'm reading. I guess I'm not sure exactly how to explain it, or at least explain it briefly. Heart rate is again much better, and you could see that back here in the ride chart. Speed's kind of always been all over the place, and I guess that's just because there are so many readings. The cadence chart is very good despite the spikes that we showed, and none of these things are really terribly useful. So I think I'm going to pause. Well, I don't really need to pause. So let's clear this, turn it off. Let's go to the summary here. Fine, so this first one in this case is the Garmin. This is and it's still not, it must still not be putting this into the fit file. Or maybe, I don't know what the reason is. But anyways, the Karoo shows up as this unknown fit device, and the Garmin shows up correctly. So we can drag this down to make this the purple one, drag the Garmin down, turn the comparison back on. Now we're back at the summary page. So this was a slightly longer ride today. About an hour of it was with a group, and then I sort of, not really bonked, but kind of hit my limit with the group. So I kind of bailed out and did the last hour or so by myself. But again, these numbers are very good. The moving time is going to be different because one has auto pause, one does not. The elevation is actually very good. Now I did leave from home, and I don't know if it's sort of saves the. I didn't look at the elevation. I really wasn't that concerned with it. I kind of just wanted to ride today. I never noticed, the screen kept updating, so that was fine. The map was good. Um, Now this is from Saturday, March 31st, and I did indicate that there was supposed to be a software update this week. There was not. They pushed that to Tuesday for whatever reason. Apparently they're trying to, I guess, get either some stability up, or they're trying to squeeze a few more things in, which is slightly unusual if they're working on an actual sprint cycle. And particularly interesting that they would be working over the Easter weekend. Um, but that sounds like what they're doing, and that they're planning on releasing it on Tuesday. I think it said at the latest, so that should be interesting to see what's in there. They don't usually give any indication of what's going to be in these software updates, so this is still the software update from a week or so ago. The last 3 or 4 rides have been on this version. I'll put it in the header, but it's the same. I think it's version 135 is the major number that changes. But again, if you've looked ahead again while I've been blabbing, these numbers are all very good. These X power numbers identical. Average speed's off by only a little bit. It seems like the longer the distance goes, the more of a hole or a gap there is. And I think, if I remember from the last ride correctly, the Garmin does always seem to be high. I'm almost positive I have everything set correctly, so I don't really understand this unless one is reading GPS and one is reading from the speed sensor, which would seem weird, but it's possible. Average watts within 4 watts, all these numbers are, I looked at them quickly. Again, well, this is interesting. Now this time the Karoo is slightly high on the max watts. So it's possible that it's just a polling issue where it's, and I don't know if it's because I have one set for 5-second average and one set for 3-second average, although these are maxes, so it shouldn't care about that. It should be reading, I believe both devices read 1 second at a time when they're on smart recording. The power zones, I really am not looking at this. I did double check, and I still think I do have this set correctly, but they just seem to always be off by a little bit, and they're not off by enough that it's terribly important to me. I mean, 2 hours in zone 2 over a 2-hour and 15-minute ride, don't really care that much. I guess this is the first time I've looked at this for this ride. I previewed the other ride before starting the recording. Everything in here looks good. There were a few stops in here. This is while with the group. And then probably at about this is probably about when I dropped off. Maybe it was here, but it doesn't really matter. The difference with the group, and you kind of can see it in the cadence, it does seem to smooth out a little bit more while I was by myself. And if you've ever ridden in a group, or assuming you've ridden in a group, if you're not on the front, you do tend to be on and off the cadence a lot, just trying to hold your position and not run up on the wheel in front of you. So I could sort of understand that it appearing a little more spiky during the portion of the ride when I was in the group versus when I was not and was just pedaling on my own. But there's not enough spikes, and the numbers were, the numbers for cadence they're identical for average cadence. So the spikiness, I guess, doesn't really bother me that much when the average is correct, and that's probably about right for me. 85, usually up closer to 90, but there was a lot of hills in the first half of the ride, so that could explain a slightly lower cadence. Power chart, speed chart, almost identical. Those are so close that you can almost not tell the difference between the two lines. Power chart, not sure what this big spike down low is here, unless I was really coasting for a lot today, which seems weird, but it's hard to tell. That's actually the Garmin color. It's hard to tell how high up the Karoo color is behind that. So heart rate chart looks good. Speed chart looks as weird as it ever does. So but I guess that's normal. Cadence chart actually looks pretty good other than this one weird spike. And I guess that's about it. So not sure, I'll get this published, not sure how long I've been recording for, but should be relatively short compared to some of my other ones. So this was ride 10 and ride 12. And if you've gotten this far, thank you for watching.